we have a big catch. Um, I'm here with a leader in the legal profession in Africa and in the world in his entity. Uh, he's going to be talking to us about contracts, compliance, and the hidden legal pitfalls that kill small businesses. He's going to also talk to us about why legal literacy is a business survival skill. Um, I'll leave it to my guest to introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Jamiu Agoro. I am a legal practitioner and I've been carrying on this business for about 14 years now in Nigeria. I'm presently based in Abuja. I practice my trade here in Abuja. Of course, when we have to go outside Nigeria, we are also equally ready any day, anytime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. Thanks for
Um,
having us.
so, um, so from your experience, what's the business legal blind spot small businesses do have?
Well, I'd say the first challenge that first business owners, small business owners usually have when it comes to what's it called, legal, getting themselves prepared legally, is the fact that most of them, maybe considering the size of their business, they feel they do not need a legal advisor at the start of the business. They feel at that very stage, that incubation stage, it's something they can actually undo. The owners actually undo themselves, right? And that is the starting point of their problem, because it is at that critical stage, that incubation stage, that you in fact need a well-structured legal should I a legal strategy or a legal structure in place to kickstart and give your business that strong foundation before you even start anything. In fact, the first thing you should, while conceiving the idea of coming up with a business, the next thing you should have at the back of your mind is that legal structure to properly structure your business, to properly give you that guidance your business will require before you even kickstart the process of what's it called, registering your business and growing your business.
Thank you for that. Do you have any idea why these founders usually underestimate legal risk?
Well, they for every business owner, the first thing once they set out to establish a business, the first thing that comes to their mind is how to maximize profit, how to make a lot of profit without putting so much into their business. Most of them, well, maybe myopic view, most of them usually feel that as a small business owner, they do not have that money to expend in engaging a lawyer, to expend in engaging the service of a lawyer. So they feel rather than using that money to secure the future of their business through a properly structured legal what's it called, they would rather want to put that money in their business or keep that money to themselves rather than getting the service of a lawyer. They feel, oh, well, my business is still very small, why do I need a lawyer? I can actually just do this myself now. I don't have to waste money. They see it as a waste of money, right? And I think that's one of the biggest mistake that usually even combats their growth.
Thank you for that. So, what are the top contract clauses every founder should understand?
As a business owner, there are almost all the clauses in an agreement are very germane. Almost all the, in fact, words used in contracts determines the interpretation that will be ascribed to some of the terms you have on the contract. So almost all the clauses are very important, and that it takes me to the advice I gave earlier. That's one of the reasons why you need a lawyer, because the way an English person will interpret some of the terms in a contract will be different from how a lawyer would understand and interpret it. So all the clauses are very vital. You need to understand before you append your signature on any contract. So I'll say all the contract, all the
All the
terms,
clauses. Yeah.
all the clauses are very important that you need to understand before you sign any contract.
Thank you for that. Can you share a story where a bad contract nearly ruined a business, if there's any?
Well, in my years of practice, there's this story I want to share with you, which happened to one of our clients. Um, and it's just the use of the word, a simple word could affect the purport of the terms or clauses in the contract. It's the the term that was used, right? The intendment, let me put it that way. The intendment of the parties was that there's an obligation on the other side that if I do this, if our client is able to do X, Y, Z, of course, for confidentiality, I may not want to mention names. So if our client is obligated to do or expected to perform an obligation, right? And upon performance of that obligation, there is a corresponding obligation on the other party too. But because of the fact that the contract was not properly drafted, of course, this was before the person came to us, and it was even the dispute that arose from the execution and performance of the terms in that contract that brought the client to us. So this was once the our own client perfect his own angle, there's a corresponding obligation on the other side.
Mm.
But because of the use of the inappropriate or improper word, where they were supposed to use shall, making it
Mm.
mandatory for the other person to also perform upon the performance of our own client, the drafters of that contract use may, leaving it at the discretion of the other person. And of course, the person took advantage of that and said, well, it is discretionary. It
Mm.
is not compulsory. It is not, I am not under any compulsion to also do this because of the term that was used in that contract.
Mm. So wordings are really important.
Extremely important. Extremely important.
Thank you for that. So what compliance areas do small businesses usually ignore in your experience?
Another point that I'd say, or my in addressing that, I'll say, and that is why it is always good to have um, a legal backing
Mm.
and a legal person that will structure your business. Majority of small business owners in Nigeria do not usually ensure full compliance
Mm.
with the law. And I'll tell you one instance. I'd seen a situation where a small business owner was supposed, one of the certification they are expected to get is school,
Mm.
which has to do with EFCC. You have to declare whenever you do a transaction for an individual that is over, I think, 1 million for individual, you have to file return on that transaction. And for companies, I think it's about either 5 million or about 10 million. You have to file a return to say, oh, report the transaction, right? But majority of small business owners, well, perhaps because they're trying to cut costs and also not doing the proper thing legally
Mm.
to support their business, they usually would not have all these certifications done, like school, like getting their tax clearance and full compliance with the law, right? So in that particular situation, the person failed to file the return with the appropriate authority. And at the end of the day, there was about a year or two later, there was an issue that took that person to EFCC. And upon examination of their books, it was discovered that they had not fully complied with that regulation. And you know the sad thing? Reporting it is absolutely free.
Wonderful.
But their failure to report attracted huge fine because the fine are usually calculated per each day of default.
Mm.
They ended up paying a whole lot that nearly ruined their business.
Business.
And why? It is because they have not engaged an informed mind, a legal mind, to direct and advise them on how to go about this so they will not fall on the wrong part of the law.
That's an amazing practical example we just have there. So how can a business build a simple compliance routine?
Okay, you have to just whether you want to get to as number firstly is you have to set up a department, whether to have an in-house counsel that will be fully under employment with the business owner. And this person, of course, have to be experienced in that regard and will be able to advise and guide as to all the necessary compliance and certifications they have to get, right? Or better still, retain the service of a law firm, being on retainership with them. And of course, the responsibility will then fall on that law firm to guide you, to direct you in that regard, so you won't be found wanting.
Thank you for that. So what's the legal issue, or what are legal issues that business founders don't even know exist?
And well, a lot
And
actually,
sorry, and what early steps can they take to prevent this hidden risk?
a lot. You can only talk about today, but you never know what tomorrow holds. If you get it right today, be assured that the tomorrow will be positive.
Mm.
But if you start on a wrong foundation, it is almost certain
Mm.
that the future will have a lot of itches and glitches. So the advice is as you're setting out, as you're starting, have that properly structured legal department or the service of the law firm to assist with the setting up of your business. Once you get it right from the onset,
Mm.
rest assured that your business would, of course, there are other issues that may come along in future, but once you get it right legally, some issues that you may have with law enforcement will have been taken care of, and you have the mental balance to focus on how to grow your business rather than having to attend several interviews at law enforcement offices.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. So these are like practical advices, but I have some key points here. Like for example, I was wondering, when is it right to hire a lawyer, and what are businesses supposed to look out for when trying to get legal support?
Okay. Not even only for business owners. So long as you interact with people, so long as you have business that you engage in with people, no matter how small it could be, from day one, of starting that business, in fact, from the incubation stage, when you are even conceiving that idea of starting a business, you need to consult a lawyer. And of course, you also need to, and you have to ensure that you go for a lawyer with experience that will be able to guide you through all the processes of structuring your business properly and legally.
Thank you for that. So there you have it. I'm going to leave our legal leader now to give his final advice.
Yeah, my advice to everyone is do not wait till it is late before you engage the service of a lawyer. If you do the proper thing, it is even cheaper for you. Having to set your path straight is usually easier. But when you have to now start correcting mistakes that you ought to have, have avoided or averted in the first place, the cost of doing that would be so more and humongous that it may nearly ruin your business. The point I'm trying to make is this: if you want to start your business now and you need to engage the service of a lawyer, whatever the lawyer will charge you as a fee, as his fee now, trust me, will not be as much as what you will be charged if it's for the lawyer to undo the mistakes you have made in the course of operating your business without the advice or the guidance of the lawyer. So it's even way cheaper and better for you to engage the lawyer from day one. The cost of undoing or remedying whatever fault or mistakes that you may have made would be much more than when you start from beginning with a lawyer.
Okay. Thank you so much. So this is business owners, especially small business owners. You can see it's not as difficult as you feel, and you can actually see the business value of doing things right legally from the onset. So thank you so much
Thanks for having me.
for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
So viewers, let's know what you feel about this conversation in the comment section. If there's any other question you have, please do drop it there. Of course, like and share.